So if you saw the video yesterday, you know that we blew up the engine in this thing. And what I want to show you today, if you didn't see that video, go watch that first. It's somewhat entertaining and, it's worth watching. There's a lot of smoke and horrible noises and whatever, but I pulled the intake off yesterday and all this other stuff because of that. So there's just a, tiny hole in the block. And the other thing I know, if you notice, you got this bolt here, and there's probably another one. Yeah, there's another one there. And then I saw this just sitting there, and I'm like, well, where'd that come from? Well, it used to be in here, but when this thing got obliterated, it got smashed, it got ripped right out of the block. So you can see there's definitely some damage in there from, chunks bouncing around, whatever. I think I'm eventually going to pull this engine out if I have time and take it apart just to see how bad the damage really is. The other thing you probably can't see, you might be able to see a little bit. See that little lighter, there's the one part down there that's lighter gray, I think is the valve, but then that other part is actually a chunk of the block that fell in, got stuck inside a cylinder and jammed in a valve, which is probably part of why it was smoking so much yesterday after it exploded. But you can actually see in the video when this happened, because it was running fine, making a bunch of noise, and there was just a huge plume of smoke that came out of it, and then it started running even worse, and it sounded terrible. But the theme of this video is holes and things that shouldn't have holes. So if you know anything about these cars, you probably know that the strut towers, a lot of people worry about them, that they'll rust out, and then your strut will just punch through your interior. And from the back, it doesn't look terrible. And if you did what a lot of people do, and you just pull the foam off of here and look at this, it looks fine. It looks fine over here. And in fact, the first clue you get, if you take the seat out before you even look up, you can see there's rust water draining down from somewhere. That you can find just by pulling the bottom of the back seat out. But then, if you look up higher, now this was still solid when I pulled this interior piece off. All I had to do though was hit this just with my hand, not a hammer or anything. And that one, I just hit it with the battery on the back of my impact. But I mean, you can see there are multiple layers there of just metal that's just all rusted. And if I take a hammer and I hit on it more, you just keep expanding that hole just bigger and bigger. Look at that, we just doubled that one. So that's why people, want to check them. And the thing is, if you'd seen this car when I bought it, you'd think it was actually perfect, but you can see there's a little bit of rust here. This area has been repaired multiple times. The person I bought it from told me, and you can see on this side, this one was repaired and it's already rusting, bubbling back through. So the outside doesn't even always tell you for sure what's going on the inside. And that's why people usually want to take the interior apart to look at it. And now that I've seen this, I get it. I don't blame them. But I want to see how bad this one is. Look at that. Just gone. That hit there, that took almost no force. That was barely even touched it. And now if you notice the tire's completely bald on the outside, that's because these are old snow tires that are just on here because this car's getting parted out and scrapped, so I didn't want to put nice wheels on it. But yeah, this is why people want to check them before they buy them on any cars that are from states where things rust, because you get rust in between the layers and it might look okay from the outside. And is this still structurally sound the way it is? I mean, apparently, but you definitely wouldn't want to take this off of a jump or something, and it's gonna keep getting worse, and eventually it would probably blow through. So, could someone fix this one? Yeah, I mean, you can fix anything if you've got enough metal. You could fabricate a whole new thing in there if you really needed to, but You know, am I going to do anything? No, because I'm scrapping it. So it's just something to look for. I don't know if I'll ever buy another one, so I don't know if I'll ever have to look, but I'm probably a little bit more toward the idea of maybe checking, although it is a huge pain to get to them. Maybe with trim tools it'd be easier, but you've got to take this whole piece out, this whole piece out, which means taking the floor parts out. And yeah, it's not fun. But if you're looking at one in a rust state, it's probably a good idea because it could be a lot worse than this. It could maybe have wrapped all the way around. And if you lose too much of the bottom of this thing, it's just going to blow through the top. So, yeah, that's, what about this area? Yeah. So, yeah. Be warned. You could, you could probably, I can rip this off, I think, with my hand now. And that's where your seat attaches to. So that's all that would be holding the back half of your back seat up. And sure, your seat belt would still be on, but your seat could try to come flying forward. That wouldn't be great. So definitely something to look out for if you're looking at one of these. Like that one, I'm kind of afraid to know what those ones look like. And especially that car, with how much rust it has in the back, they're probably about ready to blow through. But I'm not going to check them right now because I'm not going to be driving either of them for who knows how long, so it's not a big deal. But that's it. That's holes and things that shouldn't have holes in them in this car.